Welcome everyone. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanaya Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome everyone. Today we are celebrating Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's 143rd Jayanti, which is like birthday. And he was born on 30th of December. But according to Tamil calendar, it is today, 7th of January, which is a Sunday. And we have all gathered here to celebrate it. And if you know what Bhagavan always said about Jayanti celebrations, he was dead against these things. He said, what are you celebrating? The dead corpse, this body, which is going to die one day. There's nothing to celebrate it. You should repent that you have this body and try to get out of this body, transcend this body, and know what truly you are. You're not this body. You are that pure awareness, nameless, formless, unborn, which is using this body to communicate, to participate in this Maya, in this illusory, imagery world, but should not be affected of it. And to know that, you have to respect, love, dedicate your life to know that. And once you start loving it, looking for it, it is already there and you see it, and that's all. It is such a simple, direct path, what Bhagavan has told to all of us. And that is the way we should celebrate it. Celebrate it staying in that Bhagavan within us, that Arunachala Shiva within us. Not the body and I am doing this and thoughts and activities and all. Activities continues. But just be a witness to all activities. They just happens and we are just an observer. If you abide in that pure self which we all have, there is no one born without that self. That is true. But we all have to find our own self. That is the puzzle or game. And it is so beautiful even when as a seeker we try to find it, you start absorbing in that pure bliss. As if you are going to a hill station, when you go up the mountains, you start feeling the breeze. So it is so beautiful. And once you take Bhagavan's name, such a pure, Atma who came and gave us this message, we start getting absorbed in that. It is so beautiful. And there is no hierarchy in it. There is no religion, caste, creed, nationality, that it is for this person or not for that person. It is for everyone, because it is in everyone. So I would say that hope we all get to that pure self within us. And I humbly pray Arunachala and Ramana, which is one and the same, to make all of us imbibe in that pure self. Om Shanti, Shanti. I wrote some figures and facts about Bhagavan. So it is not just Bhagavan's 143rd Jayanti. We are also celebrating 100 years of Ramana Ashram. And you can see we have this logo which is created from Ramana Ashram, 100 years of Ramana Ashram. So it was created when Bhagavan's mother left her body, and she was buried at the foothills of Arunachala. And at that time, Bhagavan moved after a few months in 1922. So since 1922, Ramana Ashram was there, but it was not in the form the way it is right now. It used to be only a small hut, and later that hut became gradually that ashram became really big. And then this ashram came into being very gradually. And I just want to tell you something about Bhagavan's family, which perhaps you might not know. In Bhagavan's family, her father's paternal uncle and her father's brother, they both were sannyasi. So he came into a family, he was born in a family where there were sannyasis already. And he was born on 30th of December 1879 in Tiruchuzhi. He studied for 3 years in Tamil language there, and his father sent him to his uncle's, paternal uncle Subbayyar's house in Dindigal. So in Dindigal, he went in 1890. He stayed there for about a year. In 1891, his uncle was transferred to Madurai. So he moved to Madurai with his uncle and studied there. First, he was at Scott's Middle School and later at American Mission High School. 1 year into Madurai, his father died in 1892 when he was 13 years of age. So, given that now the father was no more, his mother, his younger brother and sister, they moved to another uncle's house. And his older brother, Nagaswami, he moved to Madurai with him to his uncle's place. And there we know that in 1895, one of their relatives came to visit his uncle's place, where he heard first time the word Arunachala, that it was a place on earth. He always thought in his mind that this is something which is in Puranas or a place which is imagined somewhere else. And that, I think, stirred something within him, because after that he read Periya Puranam also about the Shaivat saints. And in 8 months after listening to the word Arunachala at the age of 15, so he heard in November 1895, in July 1896 he had death experience, which finished his ego and he absorbed himself in Shiva. There he stayed till 29th of August 1896, when one day his older brother told him that there's no point in just opening the book and just daydreaming and not paying attention to his studies. And he thought it is like God's word, he should leave the place now. So he said to his brother that I'm going to school to study. And his brother said, then take 5 rupees and pay my fees. And then he calculated that he might need 3 rupees to reach Tiruvannamalai. He has to go to Arunachala. And he left with those 3 rupees. It never came back. So this is the story of our beloved Bhagavan. And by his grace, we are all in this satsang. It's beautiful satsang which elevates us, which brings us to our own self. That satsang is nothing but company of all the people who are seekers for that truth together. And recently someone sent me a video in which a sannyasi was taking a firewood and took it out from, in India, those chulas where you put all the fire together to boil something in kitchen. And he said if they are all together, the fire is so big that it can boil things and it helps each other. That's what satsang is, that fire together. So it is very useful. Bhagavan always paid importance to satsang.
Thank you for being in the satsang today. It's a great honor to be here. And I just start with how I came to Bhagavan. My grandfather, when he was traveling to Tirupati, he heard about, that time they called Brahmana Swami, meditating in the Arunachala hill. So he went to Tirupati and then came back, got down at Tiruvannamalai, and then went to he was there in the Arunachal hill, somewhere Giri, I don't remember exactly where he was, but from that time onwards, he started following Bhagavan. That time not many people know, so he was there, one of the initial, maybe hundreds of people who were there at that time.
Which year was that?
I got some photos, I don't know, it will be 1920s, or I don't remember exactly what time, because my father was 10 or 12. They took a photo with Bhagavan. And so it's in the early stages. He was just, people came to know him. And then, but that's the best thing, that initially I also been to Ashram with my grandfather, my father. That time I didn't know anything about Bhagavan's teaching or anything. I just go there, go and play, and then see the peacocks, monkeys. That's all I remember at that time. But one thing I vividly remember is I came to, whenever my father took me to the ashram, first thing is I prostrate, Muruganar was there. So that's the biggest blessing. I think that's the first person I've seen Bhagavan's greatest devotee. And then probably, it's Tamil Ulladhu Narpadu, the greatest saram, the essence of Bhagavan is in the 40 stanzas of Ulladhu Narpadu. And that's how I very attracted. After that only I started reading about all that. First initially I didn't know anything. I used to go there like a holiday, just to see. My parents take me, so I go. But later, because 1955 born, so 50 Bhagavan already samadhi, so 5 years later, so I didn't have the opportunity to see Bhagavan. But I saw from the old ashram, when I was there, there's only a thatched roof and there is no proper hall and everything. I used to go there and stay in one of the, the where cowshed, near cowshed, used to stay there. There are many places to stay at that time. And then the Kalasegaram Rajagopal, he is the one who made the statue, Bhagavan's statue. At that time I was there. They were casting the mold. And then the best thing I came to know at that time, the barber who used to cut Bhagavan's hair, he is the one who is to check whether Bhagavan's head is correct or not. Nobody else could say that his posture, everything. So I used to talk to that Rajagopal, the opportunity to talk to him. He was molding that. He said, some of the things I still remember. So the barber used to come and check his head and everything. So, it's on the proper shape. That's the only person who has touched Bhagavan, the barber. So nobody else has touched Bhagavan on the head. So coming back to Bhagavan's teaching, it's, as Sanjay said before, happiness is within you. That's the core Bhagavan's teaching. And so it's very simple, but always we chase the distractions and always get devolved into all the other worldly affairs. But the simplest thing is, being on your own, hold on to thee. But it's simple to say, but you will experience everybody experiences few minutes, calm, composed, and your happiness, but it vanishes. And that's not because of any material objects, but it's being on your own. If you can extend 24/7, that's the difficult part. If you are like that, then what Bhagavan said is true. So, and Bhagavan's teachings mainly, right from the way he writes his handwritings to helping in the kitchen, and he cuts perfect, all vegetables, everything. He is, whatever he does, even his stick, he polishes, is perfection in everything. That's why once you hold on to yourself and do things, everything is perfect. Whatever he has done, he hasn't learned any language. He can speak Malayalam, he can speak Sanskrit, he can answer questions in English, he can answer in every language. I don't know how he does it. But it's all holding on to the self. That's the true form, that's the true. All shapes, forms, and everything is, it all goes one day. Thondri Maraidar, in Tamil, that's what I say, which doesn't disappear, which stays always with you. That's the Atman, that's the pure bliss. That's what, it's easy to say, but, that's the thing we want to seek, everyone wants to seek. And with that, I'll thank you.
Om Namah Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanaya. I'm here today to express my gratitude to Sage Maharishi, the Sadguru. I have, as a child, been always interested in spirituality. And over the years, as a child, spirituality was motivated by my fears and my insecurities. But as I grew into a youth, that spirituality was motivated by curiosity, wonder, and awe for that Brahman. As I grew older, as an adult, I feel I'm motivated by that devotion and love. So I feel as we progress in our lives, the meaning of spirituality itself changes and we grow with it. And we all know that a guru is very essential on this journey. And I had the good fortune of meeting Sanjay, who said to me that if you are serious in this business of spirituality, you should go and visit Ashram. And I reckon that was the grace. That was the grace which helped me to go to Ashram. And from there, it was just a very profound and beautiful journey. Reaching the ashram, I felt like it was homecoming, as if I had just reached the lotus feet of my Sadguru. And thereon the journey started. I had read his works, Who Am I and Upadesasaram, but I started reading again with that special connection, I feel. And I found all those teachings so much more profound. And I'd like to share just a couple of lines about the Sadguru, just in gratitude to his being. At the age of 16, he left home after he was self-realized. And in that exalted state, he reached Arunachala. After having reached there, he never left. He stayed there. His name and his teachings went all over the world. And in that time, we are talking when we did not have smartphones, we did not have internets, but he was known all over the world. People from everywhere came to see him, and he never stepped out of Arunachala. If that is not grace, what is? His life was a continuum of giving, giving, and giving. He was always helping people and other beings. I feel that his presence in the physical form was a blessing to this Mother Earth and blessing to all beings, may it be humans, may it be animals, everything. He uplifted everyone. And we all know he talked about the two paths, the path of self-inquiry, we all know, questioning the questioner, and then the path of surrender. Personally, I feel path of surrender has been quite profound for me, because when there is surrender, there is acceptance. And when there is acceptance, there is peace. So I have been very, very fortunate in my journey, and with the grace of my Guru, I have had satsangs, regular satsangs with Anilji, who's in Sydney, with Sanjayji, and we have satsangs in Melbourne, on Zoom, in the comfort of our home, 3 times a week. If this is not grace, I don't know what is. So in every aspect of my life, I feel fortunate and guided. And if there is a flaw, that has to be in me. So the only thing that I can say to all the sadhaks and devotees is to, yes, do satsang, but to contemplate, to reflect on these teachings, because it's only the clarity with which one can find that self. So please persist, persevere, and get to the self that we all aspire for. Om Namah Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanaya. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to express my gratitude of being able to be here with everyone. And in this event of the birthday of beloved Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, that I have fell in love with. And I just wanted to say that once someone asked Bhagavan, what would you like for your, I don't know whether birthday, but as a gift, I would like to give you a gift. What can I give you? And Bhagavan said, abide as the self. That's the best present. So I would like to give it to Bhagavan, this present, but it is not easy, as some other people were saying. It's not very easy. So I'm very grateful that Sanjay is here to guide us and to help us on this journey. So thank you so much. Thank you. What I have noticed while I'm with Bhagavan is the quietness, the silence, that any questions or whatever comes up is who is asking, and I come back to that silence. So I'm very grateful for Bhagavan's teaching of the very simple teaching that is so powerful. I found it very powerful that wherever I am in the world, wherever I am in my mind, it's always just coming back to that same silence. So I found it very, very powerful. Such a simple thing, but it is the most powerful. So I am very grateful for Bhagavan that he has come with this, that he shared this teaching with us, and his presence, and the silence that he is, and the Arunachala as well. It seems so connected with Bhagavan, and it's so peaceful just to think about Arunachala. It's very peaceful and so steady, always there, always that space is always there. It's like very, very, whatever happens, it is there. And I'm very, very grateful that I found it, or grace has shown me this path. So yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. I am really grateful to all the members here, and Sanjay ji in particular, and my sister, my co-sister who is sitting there. Actually last year, on my birthday, she wanted to take me to Arunachala. Very, very sincerely she called me. I said, I have some disc problem, so I can't travel. I told, with the luggage and all, it will be very difficult for me to get into the train, get down and all. She said, why? No problem, I will take you in a car. Come, we will go. But at last, that time we couldn't make it. We couldn't go last year. But this year, I think Ramana himself thought that he gave me such an opportunity to be with you all in the presence of Sanjay ji. I don't know how to express my gratitude to Chitra, her daughter Deepthi, who has brought me to Australia, Melbourne. Actually, I am from Kerala, India. So she has taken all pains or whatever, all interest to bring me here. And Ramana has seen to it that I should be in front of all great bhaktas, Ramana bhaktas here, and Sanjay ji in particular. For the last 3 months, I don't know how suddenly it happened. One day while browsing the YouTube lectures, suddenly I saw and I happened to hear one of his satsangs. And from that day, each day, not even a single day I have missed. Daily my day starts with his satsang, and I feel that the entire day is totally bright and positive for me, and that energy stands till the night. Some days one or two lectures, if I get time, I listen. But that has been a great motivation, and it has given me lot of clarity. And now I feel that I am the correct path. And today morning, the lecture what I heard from Sanjayji, of course not the current ones, I am listening to his earlier lectures. The interest, the longingness is the only thing that we want. If we want that interest, or if we lack for that interest, we can cry to Bhagavan, and ask him, please give me the longingness to see you in me. Please give me the power, or give me the feeling of your presence in me. Make me one with you. You cry for that. So that line, many lines which Sanjayji says, it's most apt for me. That's what I feel. All the sentences that he is using, I feel, oh, this sentence is for me. This sentence is for me. Each and every, most of the sentences or most of the words are like my heart talking to me, myself. So I am really grateful. Thank you very much for giving me such an opportunity. And my pranams again and again to Bhagavan and Sanjayji and my sister Chitra who is there. Thank you very much.
Antaryasya bahir vidutatimiram jyotirmayam shashvatam sthanam prapya virajate vinamatam ajnanam unmulayan ashyan vishwamapita mullasati yo vishvashvapare paraha tasmai Shri Ramanaya loka guruve shokasya hantre namaha. Dear brothers and sisters, on this path of self-inquiry towards our mukti in Sri Bhagavan, happy Jayanti to you, and warm greetings from Sri Ramanashram to everyone. The verse I just chanted is from Ramana Chatvarimsat, written by Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni in praise of Sri Bhagavan, chanted at the shrine every morning. And I'll read the meaning briefly. He is resplendent, having arrived at the eternal status of light, which chases away the darkness inside and outside. He strikes at the root of ignorance of those who bow down to him. Even when he perceives the universe, it on its other shore shining. Salutations to such a one, to Sri Ramana, the master of the worlds and slayer of grief. Friends, happy to be joining for this special Jayanti, 143rd Jayanti Satsang. Friends, on this path of self-inquiry, which is like walking on razor's edge, we need satsangs like where we all as one and seeking the company of the wise. However, Bhagavan has, in his unique way, described it as the company of the self, because there are no others on this path. Friends, this path is not a path of learning. However, it's a path of unlearning, where all of us, and we are all, as Bhagavan says, we are all self-realized. All we need to do is to unlearn the vasanas which cloud the inner Atman, which prevents it from shining forth. And there is no acquisition of new skills here, but it's a process of unlearning. And friends, how can we attain anything without being put to a test? So we are put on a daily test where the Maya of the world comes with full force to give us new tests of clouding our senses and further trying to hide our Atma from shining forth. However, we need not despair, for we have the direct path as shown by our master, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, to guide us on this path. This is an internal journey to our spiritual heart, the Hridayam, on the right side of the heart, and where we attain eternity, also called in other books as the kingdom of heaven. Friends, I'm speaking to you from Ramanashramam. Ramanashramam is a unique place, for we have the power of three forces here. The one, living Shiva in the form of Arunachala, the living presence of the Master, Sri Bhagavan, and the sadhana of us unique seekers of the world, the devotees. And we live away our traces of our sadhana, which help to clear the path and brighten the path for us, for people following us. We, friends, lift each other up whenever we fall into samsara. In the book Ramana Gita, Kavyakanta asks Sri Bhagavan, what is the supreme goal of humanity? And Bhagavan says, universal brotherhood based on equality. Friends, there can never be equality in the external world. I'm sorry. However, there is equality, complete equality in the inner world. For you're all the same, you're all the Atma. So even in that, our Master Bhagavan has showed us the way to how to live in this world. The true path is to live, as he says, in a state of walking sleep, or where we try to stay in the Hridayam or the inner path. In an editorial by the great Arthur Osborne, where he calls the ascent, he describes a portion of the hill where the ascent is steep and you could see the summit of the hill very clearly standing below. However, that portion of the hill has no rocks to rest our tired legs, no valleys to rest and to feast our senses, but one steep path. Arthur Osborne describes the direct path of Sri Bhagavan, the Atma Vichara, as a similar path, where it is the shortest path to self-realization. However, it is a steep and a narrow path, and what we could say, walking on razor's edge. However, this path we have the fellow devotees who have already arisen. We can take inspiration from them and we can just follow what they have done to reach where they are. Or we have people following us to lift us up whenever we are falling. So in a way, we're all one whole family under the umbrella of our Father, Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. We inspire each other and we are all for one and one for all. The Adhyatmic Shakti in groups like ours is so powerful that we don't realize. Friends, in United Jayanti Satsang like that, there was a Hindu spiritual master, Sri Chinmoy, and he was a very popular teacher in those days, stadiums full of devotees. And he had participated in a satsang like ours. And Sri Dennis Hartle of New York Ashram, some of us had gone to see this master away. And he emotionally told us that the spiritual energy in that hall, an August gathering of say 50, 60 people, was several hundred times more than the spiritual energy where he used to fill stadiums full of people. So please know that you're all blessed to be in Bhagavan's path, and please continue this journey together. Sri Bhagavan, who is nothing but a manifestation of our Atma, and Atma is nothing, God, Self, and Guru are the same. So God in His grace creates a Guru, and who comes to push ourselves from outside and pulls our mind into the true self, the Hridayam, the final resting place. And the clear path as expressed by in the small booklet Bhagavan gave as a 21-year-old young man, the non-yar, or who am I? There can't be any better spiritual treatise for person on this direct path of Jnana Marga or Atma Vichara. Friends, today we celebrated the Jayanti. Now, Bhagavan opposed any celebration connected with him, including his Jayanti or birth. For we could say he was never born. The celebrations were a way for devotees like us to express their love and devotion to him. It is also an occasion for us to strengthen the commitment to practice his teachings with greater intensity, for the highest form of Guru Bhakti is to practice the Guru teachings and follow his or her path. Friends, our Bhagavan's life that he lived was the greatest exponent of his teaching. There could be no better practitioner of self-inquiry or Atma Vichara like him. However, the other path that he described, one of as a 16-year-old boy, he comes and surrenders his whole life to Arunachala, stating, "Thy will is my will." So we have a clear-cut path and a Guru who clearly walked his talk, and we don't need to look elsewhere, and our path is clearly exemplified by this master. In 1912, Bhagavan said, when people wanted to celebrate his birthday, he said, "You who intend to celebrate the birthday, first ascertain as to when you were born. The day that we attain a place in that everlasting life, which is beyond the reach of births and deaths, is our real birthday." So he took an advantage situation to hammer away at the ego and, raise the awareness of the Atman. Now, Major Chadwick, a great devotee of Bhagavan, took 30 years to write a rejoinder to this. And he says, "Bhagavan, you tell me not to celebrate the day I was born. Seeing it led me to thy feet, why therefore should I mourn?" Friends, today we celebrate the living presence of Sri Bhagavan. He was not the living body. He is eternally present in Ramanashramam. And as Muruganar said, wherever a devotee of Bhagavan is in Melbourne, in our hearts, there is Ramanashramam. So therefore, there is Bhagavan in each one of you. I have no doubt about this. I would like to read a small passage from another editorial by Arthur Osborne. And Arthur Osborne, along with many devotees, their lives were encompassed by two events. They saw Bhagavan in the living frame And then they saw the ashram without the physical frame of Bhagavan. And of course, they all went through the question as, oh, what are we doing in the ashram without the master? And then he clearly states why the grace that was Bhagavan is only continued to grow exponentially since he shed his physical form. I will read his words. The grace at Arunachala is so potent, so vibrant today, so searching and intimate in its effect that one wonders whether those who find a change in it have been there to see. The devotees have found a lightness and a happiness in the very air of the ashram at Tiruvannamalai, an immaculate peace beyond the rough handling of destiny, an immortal wealth despite their loss. But is the same as actual guidance by Bhagavan? Is it the same as actual guidance by Bhagavan? It is. And it is in the most direct and personal way. Indeed, the guidance seems more active now than formerly in those people who meditated little before, but were contented rather to feast their eyes upon him and listen to the sound of his voice, are now being drawn more and more to sit in silent meditation before the samadhi and gather together in old hall, redolent with his presence. As one sits there, it is nothing vague or diffuse that one feels, but the same intense inner stirring, the same lifting up, the same blissful certainty that was felt under the watchful eye. There is the same variation from day to day in mood and potency of guidance. There is the same repose to devotion and to any earnest plea for help. Can this be felt elsewhere, like in Melbourne? Is Bhagavan's grace Tiruvannamalai? It never was. It never was. His grace flowed upon all who turned to him, to imply that the guidance was confined to the ashram in Tiruvannamalai, now or formerly, would be attaching too much importance to the body. Now as formerly, it is felt in the heart of the devotee, independent of the outer aids. There is this great beauty and potency in a visit to the ashram, however. Many have compared it to the charging of their spiritual battery. So friends, leave your Teslas, then the battery in Australia, and I welcome you on behalf of the ashram to come and charge your spiritual batteries periodically in the ashram.
Very true.
Friends, I'll end this by saying that this is the centenary celebration of the formation of Sri Ramanashramam. As you know, Sri Ramanashramam was established in year 1922 when Sri Bhagavan's mother was attained by Bhagavan's grace, and a shrine came up called Mathur Bhuteshwara Temple. For nearly 6 to 7 months after that, the devotees, Bhagavan and the Sarvadhikari Swami Niranjanananda would go up every evening to Skandashram and come in the morning and do the puja and go back. However, a week before Jayanti in the year 1922, roughly around this time, the Bhagavan came down one morning, and when devotees came to know that he was there, for the next 7 days, there was daily bhiksha and there was a celebration around Sri Bhagavan. And Bhagavan chose never to go back, and therefore a loose organization, which was just a gathering of devotees came together to form a formal organization called Sri Ramanashramam, which over years, under the watchful eyes of the Sarvadhikari, Swami Niranjanananda, several buildings came about, including guest rooms, and a home for all of us, a home away from home, an edifice of the temple of came to being, and which we all can call our home. And so, friends, will be celebrating the formation, the 100th year of this wonderful place, this moment in spiritual history over the next few months. It will be celebrated in several cities in India and several cities across the world. And I look forward to coming to Australia to celebrate the function with you, good folks. And we can have a day-long celebrations where we can all have chanting, we can have some musical function, and we can celebrate the living presence of Sri Bhagavan. And as we go along, I'll be in touch with all of you, and we can work out a program. No rush. The theme of this celebration is Sri Ramanashramam, the first 100 years, the next 100, and for eternity. So there is no time frame for us to celebrate, because for as long as we are here, the Ramanashramam is in our, and therefore we can celebrate it anytime. So I look forward to spending this, the living presence of Bhagavan with all of you. And as we don't have time, but we will have several things which will be carried out, including several incremental changes inside the ashram. I'm sure you would have seen the digital experience of the ashram. We're going to have that so that the devotee can have the Ramanashram into their living rooms on a daily basis. You can see the daily Parayana, the daily Puja. We had the live transmission of the Jayanti. We're going to be coming out with several apps, including the Mountain Path app, the daily Parayana app, and to a very dedicated team of team members, including our own Gopal, who's here with me. And these people work day in and day out and tirelessly. And these are real heroes for our to maintain this connection between the devotee and the ashram. We'll be constructing more. We'll be doing a lot of green projects in and around, and I'll be in touch with Sanjay, and he'll be passing on the developments as we go along. So friends, I feel the organization is only as strong as the sum of its parts. And I'm very proud to be the president of the ashram. The true president of the ashram is only Bhagavan. I'm just the first servant, as was my father for you, for all of you. My job is only to be in the background and clean your shoes. So please, anytime you can reach me with any suggestion and any little help I can offer for you. And so, as I said, the organization is only as strong as the sum of its parts. And we have the most unique devotees that one organization can salivate to have. You're all truly remarkable spiritual seekers, and I look forward to serving you in this lifetime. And please have all of you, and with humble prostrations to all of you, and Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanaya. Namo Ramanaya. It is a great blessing to be sharing this offering on this most auspicious and holy occasion of Ramana Jayanti, which is being celebrated on the 7th of January 2023. And this offering is being offered on behalf of the Sydney, Australia chapter of the Ramana Satsang. And it is a great honor to be discussing about the birth, as it were, of that most wonderful sage, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. His teachings are a light onto this world, drawing the mind that is consumed by consumerism and the world into itself, collapsing itself onto itself, to reveal the truth of who am I. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi was born as Venkataraman in 1879, and then at a very tender age of 16 years, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Venkataramana, had an intense and strange fear of death. And that fear of death did not make him afraid. Rather, he lay prostrate on the ground. And in a very sahaj manner, as if it was a natural thing, started investigating as to who is having that fear of death. Where did this fear of death arise from? That investigation was what transformed that young little boy of 16 years into Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Because he realized there and then that I am not this body, I am not this mind, not this intellect. The body may come, the body may go, but I, as that ever-existent reality, as true self, remains ever-existent. That realization was the dawn, the Jayanti, the true Jayanti, which led to his showering blessings upon his devotees for decades and decades. So what were the teachings? And what were the pointings that Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi gave to the world at large? The teachings were very simple. Find out who am I. Investigate to find out from where this I arises from. And it will reveal itself as pure self. There are many and many teachings all over the world. So many scriptures have been written. So many religions have come forth. All speaking about the same thing. How to be happy, how to realize oneself, to investigate who am I. But all the teachings, all the other scriptures give you the grounding, the pathway, the direction to reach the goal. But the teachings of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi are the quintessence, the very crux, the very pinnacle of the teachings from all the scriptures, which direct oneself right into the very source to reveal truth as it is. The teachings of the Vedas, the teachings of the Upanishads, and the bhashyas of Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya reiterated again and again, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva na Paraha. Brahman is the truth. This manifestation, this world is unreal. But Brahman and the world are not different. Jivo Brahmaiva na Paraha. What does this mean? It points to one and one thing only, that in reality the changeless as Brahman, as the true self, and the world, the changing as the world, the manifestation, are no different. They are one and the same. Because the world, the manifestation has arisen from the true self. So the changing and the changeless are one and the same. That is the very essence of all teachings, all scriptures, all religions. And in respect of the individual, how does then that truth reveal itself to the individual who yet considers oneself as this body, this mind, this intellect, with that little ego? The teachings are that the changeless and the changing are the same. But the methodology has been described in so many scriptures all over the world. And those teachings and the methodologies have shown pathways, have shown directions, and shown the various ways one can grow towards that truth to realize, so that everything is removed, all the negativities, all the non-self, what one considers as non-self, the negativities are taken away. Most of the methodologies help in that, which is also very, very important. It is like creating an image out of a block. What is not required is chipped away to reveal that image that is there in the sculpture. In the same way, all the methodologies have been provided as tools, but Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi has given has taken all these and created one simple technology, simple method to try and investigate and find out who you are, where this I has arisen from. All he says is investigate to find out who am I. Where from does this I arise? The mind is such that it is always outgoing. It is all the time jumping from object to object like a butterfly. And it is very, very fickle at all times. The moment the mind goes outwards, the natural tendency is to create the I and the other. Duality automatically arises. Subject and object happens. Subject as the little ego, I, me, and the object outside. When that happens, conflict arises naturally. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi said, rather than that, the simple method is draw that very mind inwards. Rather than allowing it to go outwards, draw the mind inwards into the very source from where it actually arose from. Find out to whom is this arising, these thoughts arise to. One has to be aware of awareness itself. Everyone says, I am aware. Aware of, yes, objects. But who is it who is aware of this awareness? That is the most important question. Being aware of awareness itself. There is something beyond this. One has to transcend this ego mind. And when that investigation takes place deep within oneself, as revealed by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, the Sphurna happens, the revelation happens. The fountain of truth comes forth in all its glory. Because it is always there as ever existent. You are that pure self, that changeless, functioning for a limited time as the changing. So the changing and the changeless are one and the same. The Parabrahma Tattva, that Satchidananda Atman, the absolute existence, absolute consciousness, absolute bliss is revealed in all its glory when that investigation into the self takes place. Because the dissolution of the non-existent notional mind happens. The little ego I is dissolved because it never existed in the first place. It is only a notion. And that ever existent reality as true pure self is revealed. Let us, as true devotees of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, utilize this day, the day of Jayanti, to aspire with complete devotion and complete aspiration, with that mumukshatva, to desire for desirelessness. With this, let us start a practice from right now, here and now. Rather than saying Happy New Year, let it be a happy here now. Because the self is here and now. Not in some remote, distant place. But here and now, because you are that very self itself. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namo Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arunachala Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arunachala Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arunachala Ramanaya. Om.